Hey guys, HCGChica. This is the first YouTube vlog style video I've made in a very long time. I think it's been several years. Excuse me because I have a cold I'm getting over, so my voice sounds kind of weird. Anyhow, I've actually been giving some thought the past few days to doing HCG again. And it's been 6.5 years since I've done HCG injections or the diet at all. I think that's so crazy, isn't it? Since November 2012, I haven't done it again, and I've been maintaining that whole time. You know, when I do need to make corrections, I've always used intermittent fasting. But I want to talk a little bit today about why I'm considering doing it. I haven't actually decided. I don't know yet. I'm just kind of feeling things out. So anyway, as I said, 6.5 years I've maintained. It doesn't mean that I've never gained a few pounds. I have several times here and there. I always make corrections, whether by, eating a little more clean for a few days, or the intermittent fasting has always worked for me. So 1 or 2 days a week, if I had a couple pounds to lose, I would do that. I'd fast for about 18 hours, which most of the time was just basically not eating until dinner. And that's always worked, and I've always stayed, between 127 and 130 pounds. I'm 5'1", for those of you who don't know. I CrossFit, regularly 3 to 4 days a week. I've been doing that for 7 years consistently. I've almost never missed an entire week in that whole time. So that's worked great. Over the winter, I've had a number of things happen that altogether have contributed to me being in a place where I feel like I've put on a few pounds of fat. So I'll explain. So first of all, I keep injuring myself, not at CrossFit actually. A lot of people might assume that, but it's been other activities. I hurt my shoulder, and right now I can hardly do anything that involves the use of my shoulder, so that means my workouts are really limited. Then I got a ganglion cyst on this wrist just the other day because I was trying to see if this shoulder could handle doing a push-up finally yet, which it can't. But then I felt pain on this side, and that's how I figured out that there was this weird bump sticking out of my wrist that wasn't on this side, and I was like, what? So I went to the chiro, he took care of it. But anyway, so that I've got that going on. I've had some issues with my hamstrings, just different things like that have made it difficult to work out in the same way I usually do. I still go to CrossFit, but the intensity of the workouts just hasn't been able to be as much there. So that's one thing. The other thing is that usually if I have an injury, I will adjust my eating, like how much I eat, down a little bit, because when you have less activity going on, that means you're burning less calories every day, and so you kind of need to modify your diet to match that. But it's been really hard for me this winter, honestly, to do that. I not only am I a person who likes to eat a lot, which is partly why I lift weights and work out regularly so that I can eat as much as I feel like eating. I've actually felt like eating more lately than usual. I feel kind of a little bit of a compulsion to eat too much and to get a little too full, which isn't really normal for me. And I'll talk about why that might be in a second. But anyway, so that's been going on, which means that I've been overeating a little bit, I'm pretty sure, So there's that. The other thing I've been doing over the winter and this spring is I've been trying to address some different things with my health. So as some of you know, I have Hashimoto's. Most of the naturopathic doctors I've seen have told me I have Lyme disease. I can't be sure on that, but that's what I'm told. So I have a lot of the things that go with that. And this winter, things just got really bad to the point where it was like I really need to do something. So one thing I did was I actually changed my thyroid medication entirely. I did it gradually. And I'll talk more about that in a separate video because that's actually been a really neat experience and I want to share it with you. What I did was I switched from taking T3 Cytomel thyroid medication to natural desiccated thyroid, kind of like Armour. Although I don't take Armour, I take a brand from Thailand called Thyroid, Thiroyd. But anyway, so I gradually switched from T3 to this natural desiccated thyroid. It was a gradual process where I would add in a little bit of the natural and keep part of my T3, and then I would increase my natural desiccated and decrease my T3 more. And the one thing I noticed right away, which again I'll share more later, is just I have much better consistency of energy. Like my stamina is so much better than it was, like light years. So that I'm really grateful for. At this moment, I'm entirely off of all my T3, and I'm only on this new thyroid now. But finding the right dose of the new thyroid is tricky, you know. So I've thought, you know, it's possible I'm taking a little too much. I don't have any of the other symptoms of being over-medicated, but, you know, definitely taking thyroid can make you hungrier if you have too much. The other thing is I take a sublingual cortisol spray. It's actually cortisol. It's a physiologic dose. I've been on some form of a small dose of cortisol for years now, for probably about 5 years. Because I've just had kind of consistently fatigued adrenals, and that really is like helps me to be functional. And I've never had a problem maintaining my weight taking those low dosages. However, I've been recently seeing another naturopathic doctor guy who's been helping me with my Hashimoto's and my Lyme, and he says I'm improving. I've definitely seen some different things that seem to go along with that. So with that is the possibility that, you know, hey, my adrenals are recovering finally, actually, with this help from this doctor, so that I don't need all that cortisol anymore, and possibly taking all of it every day still when I don't need it could be leading to hunger and excess, you know, kind of fat gain, especially around the middle. So that's the other possibility. So yeah, just all those factors culminated, and I pulled out my summer clothes just a couple nights ago, because here we have hot summers and cold winters, so we do switch our clothes around. I don't have a big enough closet to keep them all out. And I wear stretchy clothes like most of the time, but definitely all winter. I live in I have 8 identical pairs of the same black sweatpants, and they're super baggy, and that's all I wear all winter. So I pull out my summer clothes, and in there, you know, I've got a few pairs of jean shorts and stuff like that. And I can tell, like, around my middle, like, it's seeming poochy, you know? Granted, it was nighttime, and I'd had dinner and, you know, and a P3 of Life type smoothie. So, I mean, my stomach was full. But, so I'm trying on a few of these pants, and I'm like, these are super snug. Like, I can button them, but just barely, like, barely. And I've got, like, the fat squishing around the top of my belly button out of them, you know? And then that's not how they fit last summer. So I was like, oh man, that's enough of a problem for me that I need to figure out what to do about it. The other thing I forgot to mention is that even over the winter, this spring, as I've realized that, like, you know, I think my weight's, see, the thing is, my weight's actually the same. Like yesterday I was 129 pounds, and that's pretty much what I always am. But the thing is because I've been working out less, and because I just feel a little thicker, what's happening is I'm probably losing muscle, and it's getting replaced with fat because I'm still eating as much as I was. So even though my weight's the same, I know that I have more fat than I did, if that makes sense. So anyway, I just want to kind of clarify that about, you know, how that happened. And so before this point where it reached a little culmination with these clothes, I was trying to do some fasting. But the thing is, like I said, I've had no problem intermittent fasting for 6.5 years. Recently, I have not been able to do a fast. Like, I just get so hungry, I cannot complete it, and I end up eating. So my normal correction days that I use that usually work, that would work right now if I could do them, I can't handle them. And again, that could go back to possibly being on too much thyroid or cortisol, you know? And so I'm trying to figure that out right now. So anyway, that correction method I haven't been able to handle doing. And so that's kind of where I'm at this point where I'm like, okay, the fast days I can't manage, like I'm just too miserable, and I get shaky and weak and just so hungry, and then I kind of stuff my face, and that's not good, you know? So that's kind of what's going on with that. And so that led me to a couple nights ago just thinking like, oh, man, you know, maybe I should consider doing HCG again. It's been so long. I've always known that I might come back to it someday. And to be honest, part of my motivation for not wanting to do it for so long has been the responsibility that I feel towards you guys as well. Like, I don't want you to feel discouraged or like, oh, well, she had to do it again. And that's not why I maintain, but just the fact that I don't consider doing the diet more so because of you guys in my audience and just wanting to be a good example that keeps you feeling encouraged. But we're all women and we all deal with things, and ultimately I really should make decisions based on what's best for my body, So the fact that it doesn't really make sense to try to force the fasting days if they're not working for me, just so that I can maintain a certain image, or you know what I mean? It makes more sense to do what's right for my body at this moment. And yeah, so anyway, that's kind of what led to me thinking about doing HCG again. I love CrossFit and my exercise and my routine and how much I can usually eat without gaining weight so much that, when you do HCG, you're completely kind of cutting into that routine. And then you have to gradually ease back into it. And that takes a lot of self-control. So I've never needed to do that. And so I don't want to do that. But at this point, there's just kind of a few different factors that make me feel like, if I'm ever going to do it again, this might be the opportune time. Since I'm injured right now anyway, I can't do CrossFit the way I want to. When I can, then I don't want to stop and do any sort of dieting, But right now I'm forced to be limited anyway. So that kind of makes it an opportune time. The time period in our family life is good as far as summer's not quite here yet. So I could kind of get this out of the way before things start getting busy with my son and his friends and all the outdoor trips and all that. There's that. And I think there was another reason, but I forget what it was right now. So anyway, that's kind of what led to that. And the thing is also, because I'm not real, I probably only have 3 or 4 extra pounds of fat max. It's not much. And like I said, it's an amount I would normally never go on a certain diet for. Usually I even have an article about this. And I'll link to it for you guys as well, because I think is if you can handle the fasting, which usually you can if your body's in a normal hormonal balance, it's just easier. It's just easier for when you only have a few pounds of weight to lose. So I'll link you guys to a post about that topic. But so since it's only a few pounds and I'm still pretty comfortable in all the clothes I typically wear, and I'm trying to figure out this issue with the medications, which if I can figure them out, I may be able to fast again, no problem, So I'm still kind of figuring that out. But my point is, I'm not like in a place where I'm so desperate to lose weight or that I need to be on it for a long period of time. Like 6 weeks being on the diet, like that would be hard for me right now because I'm already pretty close to the size I usually am. And it takes so much willpower to do that longer diet. And you can do it when you have more weight to lose, right? Because you're just very miserable. And that's what I experienced before. But I'm not in that place right now. So I was kind of thinking, like, there's just a few things about if I do the HCG diet again that I was thinking about experimenting with. And I'll talk about that in my next video. Just because, like I said, it's not super important to me right now. And so if my experiments don't go well, like it won't be a big loss or a big deal, So I almost like, man, this is an opportune time for me to be a guinea pig for a few things that I kind of wonder about with HCG and have in my head. Things that we always assume are needed or have to be done a certain way, but in reality, do they? Like, I don't know, So I'll talk in my next video about what experiments I'm thinking about doing, and maybe also where I'm at with figuring out my medication stuff and all that. But anyway, so it was nice chatting with you guys. And I haven't decided what I'm going to do. If I can get my medications worked out right so that I can fast again, I may just do that, because it's easier. So, and then the other thing is, if I do HCG again, there's a new product out. It's a peptide. It's not HGH, which is human growth hormone. When people take that, there's apparently more possible side effects with that, but it's called ipamorelin. Another name that's of a similar product is called sermorelin that you might have heard of, but ipamorelin is like a newer one, and it supposedly the ipamorelin doesn't cause hunger like the sermorelin one can cause, which is important because, like I said, I already eat a lot and I already struggle to keep that under control. So that's another thing I've actually been wanting to try out. New Image Medical is now offering it to patients on an ongoing basis. And for me, I feel most comfortable when I can talk about products and things and protocols from a standpoint of experience. And I don't have any experience with that. And I've thought about trying it. Last year, I thought about it, but I decided not to because, you know, just with my health, my body responds not the same way most people's body responds to things. So I was just like leery of adding in anything and how I might react to it. But I kind of feel like, you know, I'm feeling better lately. And from my research, it's actually hard to find a whole lot of info on the ipamorelin, but from my research, it appears that some of these peptides can actually be really good for inflammation and people with chronic illnesses. Like, basically, it stimulates your body to make human growth hormone, and that's important. That's basically what rejuvenates your body, right? So it makes you young, keeps you young, and then we don't have as much as we get older, so we get old. It's supposed to help you sleep better, help your skin, help your bone mass, retaining your bone mass, help with muscle. And I thought, you know, if I did that at the same time as being on the HCG injections, I could just see how I felt, and I could report back to you guys and just see if this is like a possible great add-on. It's not something just for P2. It's more for like an ongoing thing for those who feel like there's that much of a benefit to it. Supposedly it takes about 3 months to notice like a full benefit from it. So anyway, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just kind of sharing my little thought process here and where I'm at. And just so you know, like 6.5 years later from finishing HCG, you know, at this very moment, I think I'm up maybe 3-4 pounds of fat. And so hopefully you're encouraged by that because that's actually pretty darn good, you know? So anyhow, it was nice to talk with you guys, and I will be checking in because, again, if I do a round of HCG, you can bet I'm going to be cataloging it. And right now I'm just trying to find a place to get body fat testing because I live in a rural area now, and it's really hard to find a location that is like on the right calendar date that I can go down, and it's like a 2 or 3 hour drive. And but I definitely, you know how I like to track my muscle and fat loss on these things. So I will keep you guys updated. Nice to talk to you. Bye.